Donald Trump has a serious phone call with Xi Jinping. America has caught even more alleged Chinese spies. And is the CCP trying to poison American agriculture? That and more on this week's China News Headlines. Welcome to China Uncensored. I'm Matt Gnezda, filling in for Chris Chappell, who's lost in the Matrix again because he got his system hacked. Too bad he wasn't using Surfshark. Whenever I go online, I use Surfshark VPN to cover my tracks and protect my identity. I also use it to... What's that, Shelley? Oh, okay. I'm not legally allowed to say it helps me grow this luxurious mustache, so I won't say that. Let's move on. According to the Department of Justice, 2 Chinese nationals have been charged with smuggling a quote-unquote potential agro-terrorism fungus into the U.S. A dangerous fungus? Did China watch The Last of Us and take it as an instruction manual? The Chinese nationals, 33-year-old Yunqing Jian and 34-year-old Zunyong Liu, have been hit with several serious charges, including conspiracy, smuggling goods into the United States, false statements, and visa fraud. Jian, a researcher at the University of Michigan, and her boyfriend Liu, a researcher at Zhejiang University in China, both study the same fungus, Fusarium graminearum, which is exactly what was smuggled into the U.S. The fungus causes a crop disease called head blight that damages crops, including wheat, and releases a mycotoxin that can cause vomiting, diarrhea, liver damage, reproductive issues, and other harm to people and animals that eat too much of it. Fingers crossed, other harm doesn't include turning into a mushroom zombie. The fungus is common in the U.S. already, which is why the FDA monitors for it, and most wheat distributors test for levels of the toxin before allowing their product to get onto store shelves. The whole situation started when Liu was stopped by Customs and Border Patrol at the airport while on his way to visit his girlfriend under a tourist visa, which doesn't allow him to work in the U.S. Officials found a wad of tissues in his bag, hiding a circular piece of filter paper and a number of tiny baggies containing plant matter. Yes, the old wad of tissues technique, where the perpetrator assumes custom officials will think, "Ew, gross," and just not want to touch it. Well, according to the DOJ, Liu said his goal was to continue his research on the fungus at the University of Michigan lab Jian worked at, with her letting him in. Further questioning also revealed that he knew other people who worked at the lab from prior research together. While Jian was arrested and is scheduled to appear in a Detroit-based federal court, Liu is believed to have returned to China. So was this a dastardly plot by the Chinese Communist Party to destroy American crops and sicken Americans and create a morally gray apocalypse? Probably not. According to the DOJ, an investigation of Jian's electronics showed information describing her membership in and loyalty to the Chinese Communist Party. But a lot of Chinese researchers are loyal members of the CCP. All in all, this seems more like stupidity run rampant than anything nefarious. It's the classic Hanlon's razor. Never attribute to malice that which is adequately explained by stupidity. And when it comes to CCP members, there is a lot of stupidity. But of course, the US media is having their way with the story, with the New York Times wrongly claiming the researchers are students and implying that this is part of Trump's targeting of Chinese international students, while the New York Post cites Republican Senator Joni Ernst saying the Trump administration saved all of us from a potential bioweapon. Because when it comes to the American media, there's also a lot of stupidity. An alleged Chinese spy allegedly plotted to make a Xi Jinping critic go bang bang and gone. Couldn't he have settled for making bang bang shrimp instead? It's tasty and less murderous. Except to the shrimp, I guess. The quote-unquote spy in question is John Miller, who, along with a man named Cui Guanghai, was arrested in April in Serbia on the orders of the FBI after he allegedly attempted to hire 2 undercover agents to threaten and intimidate a Xi Jinping critic. That critic is an LA-based artist who displayed statues of Xi and his wife shirtless and tied up on a Times Square billboard. Yes, this is China Uncensored. It's okay because it's art. Miller allegedly discussed in phone calls whether or not to have the target kidnapped, beaten with a baseball bat, shot, or just kneecapped with an ice pick, saying in one recorded phone call, "They want it bang bang and gone. No talking to, no nutting to, like a mugging or something." I only saw the written transcript. I assume that's how he said it. But now, the only thing going bang bang will be the sound of cell doors slamming shut. Miller is a permanent U.S. resident, but a citizen of the U.K., and, according to investigators, he and Sui both were accused of spying for the CCP and stalking Chinese dissidents. But Miller appears to have even more up his sleeve than a plot that sounds like a Shane Black movie. It's also alleged that he tried to smuggle sensitive American military equipment to China, including drones, air defense radar, and missiles. Because why stop at beating up a single dissident when you can help the CCP beat up a whole island of dissidents? Speaking of Chinese spies, the Dutch defense minister says that Chinese spying on Dutch industries is intensifying. In April last year, the Dutch Military Intelligence Agency said in its annual report that the CCP spies are targeting Amsterdam's semiconductor, aerospace, and maritime industries to try to strengthen China's armed forces. During the Biden administration, the US, Japan, and the Netherlands all worked together to restrict semiconductor exports to China. That's something the White House is continuing, but Chinese spying is continuing along with it, especially since the Netherlands is a global leader in chip manufacturing. And the CCP is more interested in stealing ideas than coming up with their own. And after the break, Trump is struggling to reach a trade deal with China. Who would have thought? Welcome back. President Donald Trump and Chinese leader Xi Jinping had a phone call yesterday, according to Chinese state-run media. Surely something great will happen now. The trade talks that started less than a month ago are falling apart because, as we predicted, the CCP is already violating its end of the deal. The Chinese Communist Party didn't really ease restrictions on those rare earth exports they promised. And, for its part, China has slammed U.S. efforts to limit Chinese access to advanced technology, and President Trump's proposed visa ban on Chinese students with CCP ties. Meanwhile, Trump wrote in a Truth Social post, "I like President Xi of China, always have and always will, but he's very tough and extremely hard to make a deal with," which made headlines, because of course it did. Someone ought to count all the times the news media landscape had nothing better to do than report something Trump said on social media, or all the times TV show hosts do bad Trump impressions. So it turns out that dozens of American universities maintain partnerships with Chinese military-linked entities. Considering the story about the toxic fungus I mentioned earlier, this shouldn't come as a surprise. I'm going to use the power of my mustache to go full dad mode and say, I'm not mad, just disappointed. These institutions range from community colleges to the Ivy Leagues, which President Trump is targeting in part because of these ties to the CCP. In particular, these American universities are linked to China's so-called Seven Sons of National Defense, a cohort of Chinese universities that have very deep ties to the People's Liberation Army. Some observers have even linked the Seven Sons of National Defense to technology theft. This is my shocked face. I did an entire in-depth episode on this, specifically looking at Harvard and all the very disappointing ways Harvard actively supports the CCP and its military. I couldn't put that on YouTube though, but you can watch it when you sign up to our premium website over at ChinaUncensored.tv. It's not just Harvard, of course. Any scientific partnership between American universities and the PLA is bad news for our national security. And anyone who thinks otherwise might just have some dangerous fungi on the brain. And did you know that every time you go online, everything you do could be compromised? That's why I use Surfshark on my laptop and my phone all the time. I never use public Wi-Fi at a cafe, hotel, airport, anywhere, without first turning on my Surfshark VPN. It's especially important if I'm logging into my bank account. But even if I'm just checking email, without Surfshark, hackers could see everything I'm downloading. Another reason I love Surfshark is that I travel a lot, and sometimes I need to use a VPN to make it look like I'm in the US just to access certain accounts or websites. So it saves a huge potential hassle. Also, I can use Surfshark to access all the good Netflix shows that are geo-blocked. So stay safe out there, have fun, and use Surfshark. It comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee, but I don't think you'll need it. Go to surfshark.com/uncensored and use the code uncensored to get up to 4 months extra. The link is in the description below. Once again, I'm Matt Gnezda. Thank you for watching China Uncensored.